Hello. Oops, that is the wrong one. My name is Amanda McCormick. Um, Good morning or good afternoon to everyone joining me here today. Sorry, I'm just trying to get my screen here to work the way I would like it to work. Okay, so for those of you who do not know me, I work out of the national office. I have served the league since 2011. First as a data entry clerk, then as a membership coordinator, and currently as the league's executive secretary. In these various roles, I have been fortunate to email or to speak with many of the members who take on leadership roles, particularly membership conveners and online administrators, many of whom are participating in the webinar today. If you are new to online membership or are considering bringing the idea forward to your council, thank you for being here. Thank you for being open to the idea of change. It can be difficult and even frustrating at times, and I hope that through this webinar, I can help ease some of your concerns about the online membership system. If you are a longtime online administrator here, for a refresher, welcome. I hope to be able to answer some of the lingering questions you may have. And if you are a member joining who is not yet in a leadership role and you are considering the membership portfolio as a place where your skills may be beneficial, fantastic. It is a big job, but definitely one of the most rewarding. I do not have a moderator with me today, so please do bear with me. It's a bit odd speaking to a computer screen without being able to see the audience. So let's get down to the agenda. Okay. So I hope to flip back and forth between the prepared PowerPoint and a live demonstration. I will talk briefly about why your parish council should consider using the online membership program and some of the key considerations for choosing this method. I will then briefly refer to the setup process. Truly, the setup process is one of the most difficult parts. Following that, I will cover the 4 modules of the membership system. So that includes the reports, council administration, membership, and remittance, and each of the functions that are in those modules. I will provide a live demonstration and try to point out some of the most common pitfalls reported by members. If time allows, I will also go briefly over the pre-authorized debit program. Following my demonstration, I will take as many questions as I can. As participants are muted in this webinar, questions may be submitted using the question mark button, which you will find on the bottom right-hand side of your screen. So let's begin. So before I talk about why your parish council might want to consider using the online membership program, let's talk briefly about why not to use the online system. There's 3 concerns that the membership department often hears when membership conveners are asked why they do not want to enroll in the online system. The first, of course, is that it does require internet access. The online system, it doesn't work without the ability for the user to go online. And the good news is that only one person from your council actually needs internet access. And when the world emerges from the COVID-19 crisis, that access need not be from home. In fact, I highly encourage, post-COVID, of course, councils to consider accessing the internet at their local library or ask a grandchild for help. There is very little they cannot figure out when given a computer. Better yet, engage the services of a high school student looking for volunteer hours and help that student discover the valuable world of community service. A second concern heard is that using the online membership system means that a financial transaction takes place online, and members simply are not comfortable with banking online, and that's okay. The good news is that the league does not require membership fees to be paid online when the membership is administered online. In fact, we do not accept credit cards for online membership. So councils enrolled in the online system, they can continue to send checks or money orders, or they can enroll in the pre-authorized debit program, which I will go over a little bit later. So let's take that off of one of the reasons why not to enroll. The third concern, and the one that applies to most councils that continue to process their membership manually, is that the online system, they feel the online system requires someone in their council to have a high degree of technological knowledge or ability. That is inaccurate. So we're going to get rid of that. The user only needs a basic knowledge or ability with computers, such as how to send an email. So if you were able to log on to the webinar today, you've already done something that's more complicated than accessing the online system. Okay, so just gonna skip ahead here, just bear with me. What are the benefits of using the online system? Well, first of all, you've got accuracy. What you enter into the system is what gets processed. Now, does that mean that records will always be 100% correct? No, we are all humans and mistakes do occur, but the online system reduces the chance of error at both the parish council level and at national office. There's also the fact that it's cost effective. There's no need to send lists back and forth between national office and the parish council. So this is going to save you money on postage, gas if you're driving to the post office. It'll save money on paper products, both for the council and national office, and more. Then, of course, time effectiveness. So with the online system, you do not need to wait for national office to send you an updated paid list before you can submit another remittance. Accessibility. So you can access the council's online membership system at any time, day or night. And the system allows you to actually update a member's address in real time as soon as she advises you that she has moved. And that is going to help to ensure that she receives her magazine. So informed, your parish council, because of the nature of email, for example, it's going to receive information faster when it's enrolled in the online system, because the information can be sent electronically, and because we know that we have the correct contact information for your council on file. The League's current theme, of course, is care for our common home. So by participating in online membership, you're helping to reduce the amount of paper and envelopes thrown out at the end of the day. And it may not seem like a lot, but it does add up. And lastly, of course, it is faster. Membership sent manually can take up to 2 weeks before it arrives at national office. The goal then for the membership department is to process manual membership within 3 weeks. Then it can take another 2 weeks for those papers to arrive back to you. For online submissions, the goal is a 5-day processing window. So quite a bit faster. Okay, so as far as the setup goes, as I mentioned before, the setup really is one of the most complicated parts. It does need to be completed each and every time your parish council has a new online administrator come aboard, not just the first time the council enrolls in the program. So it's extremely important to remember, as it makes sure that only the authorized individual has access to the information and that national office is communicating with the correct person. So the online membership system enrollment form, that's form 515, it can be found at cwl.ca under organize, and then the 500 series. The form must be completed, signed, and returned to national office via post or email. Please note, however, that staff can only give access to one person per council. So once the form is received by the department, an email will be sent to the administrator. Now, because it's being sent through what we call an association management software instead of an email program, it can sometimes be blocked by your email's spam filters. So to help ensure you receive this email, make sure membership at cwl.ca is added to your email's address book and the whitelist or safe senders list. So be sure to reply to the test email as soon as you receive it. This lets the department know that communication has been established between the online system and the administrator. Once the department has received your email, the administrator's package will be sent to you electronically, so via email. I'm going to switch over to a live demonstration now. Bear with me because it might take a bit to switch screens. Just 1 moment here. Okay. Hopefully you can all see that screen. When you open up a browser such as Internet Explorer, Google Chrome, which is what I'm using right now, Safari or Firefox, you're going to see a screen that looks something like this. The administrator's package has the link to the secure membership site in it. And you'll want to type that address into the address bar exactly as it was given to you. If you enter it into the search bar, which on the screen is the bar in the middle of the page with the magnifying glass, you're going to end up with something, oh, it worked. It normally would not work. I'm not really sure why that would work. I tested it earlier. Well, that's fancy. Okay, well, normally that would not work and you would end up with a screen that looks far different. The best place to put that in is right up here at the top. So you're going to want to use your address bar. It's this long thing right here. And you're going to type in the address. Make sure to type it in exactly as it has shown. So that is what the screen looks like if you get the right screen, and which you will as long as you type everything incorrectly in that top address bar. So once you've typed in the address, like I said, you're going to click on enter, and it's going to bring you to the current login page. So the instructions that you will have received, it will have told you that to obtain your password, what you're going to want to do is you're going to go to the login screen and you're going to click on forgot your username or password. So I'm going to click on that just so that anyone who is new to online administrating can see what that kind of looks like. So you'll need to know what your membership ID number is. So we'll just put in mine there. That's the number that is unique to you and is listed on your membership card. If you do not know your number and you don't have your card, do contact the membership department. They can definitely help you with that. So once you've entered in your number, you're going to click on email password. And that little, you'll know it's been sent to you if you receive your password has been emailed to you in red just below the email password. So at that point, you're going to want to open up your email program and find the password. Be sure to check your junk folder and your spam folders. Like I said earlier, sometimes the email will be hiding there. The password you will receive will be a random set of numbers. It's not one that's easy to remember. So now if you do receive an email that says your password is blank, like there's nothing listed there, that means national office has not yet set up your account for you. And so then you should contact the membership department, speak with Catherine, and she can get that sorted out, no problem. So I'm just going to go back to the home page. I'll retype that in. You might want to save this as a favorite as well. Oh, I'm not sure if you can still see my screen here. Just one moment. Okay, so hopefully you can see it now. So you might want to save that as a favorite. You can see that I've done that. So you can click on the little star here in the right-hand corner of your screen. This can help you find it later in the bookmark section without having to retype the address. Okay, so I'm going to log in now. And I'm going to enter in my user ID number, and I'm going to put in my password. And so it's not letting me sign in. I'm getting an invalid user ID number / password. And sure enough, I have actually typed in the wrong user ID number. So that's my correct user ID number. And now I'll enter in my password again. And voila. Just a reminder, your password is case sensitive, so it does need to be typed in exactly as it was sent to you in the email. So now that I'm in, you can see kind of all the, at the top of the screen, you can see you've got my name, and then I've got the name of my parish council. This is just a test one, so we've set it up as a sample. Settings, sign out. Sign out is obviously, well, it's obvious that will sign you out of the program. Let's go to settings. Settings is where you can change your password to one that is easy to remember for you. So what you're going to want to do is you can enter in your old password, and then you can pick a new password, whichever is of your choosing. So I'm just going to type that in. Make sure whatever you type for your new password, you also type it in for your confirmed password and that they match. Again, that it is case sensitive. Once you're done that, you can click on submit. Now, please note, the staff at National Office, we don't have access to your password. Okay, so anytime you want to achieve your, or to retrieve rather your password, you're going to click on that forgot your username or password. So I'm going to go to the home module, and you can see that there's 4 modules. There's membership, there is remittance, there's reports, and there's council administration. So the first time that you log in at the beginning of a new membership season, so many of you might be doing that around this time, the first thing you're going to do, the best thing really that you can do for your council's records is download a copy of the previous year's paid and unpaid membership list. This will ensure that your council has a set of records for their history books. It will also help you when determining your years of service pins. So to do this, you're going to click on reports. And that brings you to this page where you can see there is a link for paid members, list of unpaid members, and a list of deceased members. So I'm going to click on list of paid members because that's what we're wanting to pull up. And you can see right away, it says I have no members. So that is because that this pretend council has not yet submitted its 2021 per capita fees. So most of your councils will see the same thing. So in order to pull up the list for the previous year, so for 2020, you're going to click on the previous year radio button. So that's just right up here. And the list will come up automatically. So if you have any paid members, of course, for the previous year. Now, please note this list will include members who have transferred into your council. So even if they weren't with your council in 2020 and they are now, it's going to include them on this list. It will not, however, include members who have since passed away or transferred to another council, nor will it include your parish spiritual advisor. Okay, so from this view, you can also sort your members by the years of service. So you can do that by clicking on the square box right here where it says sort by years. And that'll kind of rearrange all of the members for you, starting with the member who has the most years of service down to the member who has the least years of service. It's very helpful, especially when you are determining PIN recipients. So as I said before, we want to save a list of our paid members as the first step at the beginning of each membership season. There are a few options you can choose. So the first is to make a PDF copy. You can see that right down here. This copy, it will provide you with the exact same information that national office would send to you if you were a manual remitting council. So it's your paid list. It cannot be manipulated. So if you want to pull a list of paid members from the previous year that you can manipulate, you're going to want to choose the export to Excel option. Now, some people prefer this as they can add in birthdays, anniversaries, etc., but it does require a little bit of knowledge on how to format those documents. So when you click on make a PDF copy, it's going to bring you up. Oh, it's not going to show you. Hold on one second. All right, so it's going to bring up this page basically that looks like this, and you can then choose a window, whichever folder that you want to save it in and rename it if you wish. So once you're done doing that, you're going to click on save. So I'm just going to save it as this. And when you open up your list, it's just loading here. It will look somewhat like this. Okay. When you're done with that list, you can just close the tab here. Now, if you wanted to export it to an Excel document, you'd follow the same steps. And I'm going to save it, and it's going to pop up. And I'm going to open up the Excel document. And so that will look something like this. So like I said before, it will require you to adjust the column sizes in order for you to see all of the information. I'm just going to close that and go back to the website. Okay, so one of the other things that you can do from this screen is you can pull up mailing labels. So that's really helpful if you're wanting to send Christmas cards or notes or welcome information to your members. Pull up the mailing labels list. You're going to click on mailing labels down here at the bottom of the screen. You can also obtain the unpaid reports in the same manner by clicking on reports as I did, list of unpaid members, and then by clicking following the same steps that we just did. So I don't keep you on the computer all day though. Let's move on to the next task. So the second task that you're going to want to do at the beginning of the membership season is extremely important. I'm just going to return to the home screen here. And that, of course, is to ensure that national office has the correct information listed for your president and your treasurer. When staff cannot get a hold of the president, the treasurer is kind of like our next go-to person. So we need to make sure that both the president and the treasurer have correct information on file. If we don't have the correct people listed as president and treasurer, your council may not receive that important information. So this step should also be taken, of course, as soon as a new person takes on one of these roles. So from the home screen or from the headings at the top here, you can click on Council Administration. So in the column under Former, you can see from my pretend council here that the current president of this council is Catherine Choi. I am listed as the treasurer, and Valerie Anderson is listed as the spiritual advisor. You're going to want to verify that the people listed on your screen are indeed the correct people in these positions. If they aren't, you're going to want to put in the correct information. So let's pretend that Catherine has finished her term as the president, And the new president is going to be Jane. So I know that Jane's ID number from earlier is 265929. So I'm going to put that in, and I'm going to put in Jane XYZ. The treasurer, let's pretend that I'm doing another term as the treasurer. So we're not going to put anything in there. There's no reason to. Now, when it comes to the spiritual advisor, let's pretend that Valeroy is no longer the spiritual advisor, but we do not yet have a new spiritual advisor. So I'm going to click on the delete box right there. What that will do is it will remove Valeroy from being this council's spiritual advisor, but it won't put anybody else in. And then I'm going to click on submit change. Once you've clicked on submit change, this is the screen that will come up. It is a confirmation that the information has been submitted to national office. Note that it also says, please allow 5 days for processing. This type of request, it's not automatic, and it does need to be entered by staff. So if it has been more than 10 business days and your request does not seem to have been processed and you've checked online, do send an email to Marian Wong at info@cwl.ca. She looks after the council administration part, and she can look into the matter further. Okay, so we've gone through reports and council administration. Let's move on to the membership module. So I'm going to click on membership here at the top of the screen. And as you can see, there are many options here from which to choose from. So I strongly recommend reporting a member's passing as soon as you are notified. This enables Marian to ensure that the member is honored in the Book of Life, that the diocesan and the provincial chairpersons of spiritual development are notified. And if the reporting occurs before the magazine has gone to production, we can make sure that the family does not receive the magazine for their recently deceased loved ones. So before you report a member's passing, though, you will need to cancel her renewal first, unless your council is honoring the wishes of a member who has passed away after recently submitting her dues to your council, and your council intends to submit those fees. So let's click on cancel renewal. And as you can see, there is space to enter the member's ID, her first name, and her last name. So I'm going to use my information as an example, and I will type in my ID, and I'll type in my first name, and I'll type in my last name. And then I'm going to click on search. And I get an error message telling me that there are no records found. So I'm going to review what I've typed in, and I see that the membership ID number is wrong. So let's correct that. And I'm going to click on search again. And still the error message is there saying no records found. So the reason the information is not coming up is because though everyone in my council may know me as Mandy, my name on record is Amanda. So I'm going to make sure. Basically, the system is very particular, and it requires that whatever you enter to match the records that National has on file, exactly. So for that reason, I suggest actually searching only by either your ID number, or the member's ID number rather, or by their name. So I'm just going to actually type in my first name as Amanda. And I'm going to click on search, and sure enough, this time I come out. So that is awesome. To report the member's passing, again, I'm using me as an example, you would then click on select. And you can see then that all of my details come up. Okay. So the next step, of course, would be you're going to enter in the reason for the cancellation or for the comments. So for our purposes, I'm just going to say member has passed away. Now, once you put in the reason for cancellation, you would click on submit change. Now, I strongly recommend using the cancel renewal function only for members who have passed away or who have confirmed that they will not be renewing. Should the member change her mind after you have canceled the renewal, it will only create more work for you. So I'm not actually going to press on submit change because we can't undo those. But if I could, I'm now ready to report. So please note, like I said, if the cancel renewal request is not performed prior to reporting a member as having passed away, you'll not be able to do so after. And then that member will remain on your list. So I'm just going to go back here to the membership screen. And now I'm going to report a member's passing. So like I said, that cancel renewal was just to get rid of the member's renewal notice. As we learned in the previous section, I'm going to only enter in my name, not that of my ID and my name. It doesn't work so well when we do that. And I'm going to click on select. And you can see all of my details have come up here, which is perfect. So your next step would be to click on the calendar to report the date of death of the member. Now, please note that this function, it does not work in all browsers. So for this reason, I strongly recommend using Google Chrome. That's the browser that this program was designed for. So double check that you're choosing the right date. And then you can go ahead, double check your other details and report the member as deceased by clicking on the button down here. National office cannot correct this information once it is entered. So it is very important that you enter in the correct date of death. Okay, so now this function, it is automatic. But like I said before, it does not remove the member from your remittance checklist, nor does it remove any of the outstanding notices for the member. So that's why you want to do that cancel renewal request prior to reporting the member as having passed away. So let's move on. As I mentioned earlier, having a correct address on file is very important. So let's make sure our current members' addresses are correct. From the membership screen, so you can see I've clicked on membership in the header there. You're going to click on update a member's name or address. Now, this step should, of course, be taken anytime a member has advised you that she has moved. Again, you're going to see that, that familiar screen that asks you to search for the member that you want. So this time I'm going to actually enter in an ID number for Rosemary because we have 2 Rosemarys in this council, and I want to make sure that I get the correct one. So I'm just going to search here for her number. Okay, 265 934, and I'm going to click on search. And there's the Rosemary that I am looking for. So I'm going to click on select. Perfect. And so all of Rosemary's details here come up on the screen. Okay, so this is all the contact information that National has on file for Rosemary. And I'm going to update only the fields that need to be updated. So where it says the salutation, for example, now Rosemary, she has asked that we remove the Mrs. from her name. So I'm going to choose select, and that will have that Mrs. removed. we're going to put in her nickname. So she goes by Rosie. And her new address is actually going to be 123 Everywhere Avenue. Now, when you get down to here, line 2, the PO box, Rosemary has told us that she no longer has that PO box or an RR number, and so we're going to click on the delete box. That's to make sure that that address line is removed from her file. Now, she still lives in Prince George, she still lives in BC, and her postal code is actually going to be the same because she's just moved on the street. So we don't need to change any of that. Now, Rosemary's decided that she wants to become more involved in the league. So she's actually asking that we add in her phone number. So we're going to put that in. And her fax number, though, she's not using that anymore. So again, we're going to click the delete box so that it's removed from her file. And of course, like I said, as she's becoming more involved in the league, she wants that email address added into her records. So we're going to type that in. And then we're going to click on submit. But first, actually, before we click on submit, let's make sure all of the details are correct. Oh, so what I forgot is Rosemary is actually very comfortable with accessing the magazine online. And so she's told us she doesn't need a hard copy anymore. So we're going to unselect the magazine mailing list. And we're going to click on submit change. And it just takes a couple of minutes here. Actually taking a bit of time. This request is actually one of our automatic requests, as I mentioned at the beginning, which is really great because you can get information updated right away. So there's the confirmation page, and you can verify that it has been changed by looking at your paid or your unpaid list. So one item to note is that sorry, lost my thought here. So one item to note is that if your member's address has been marked as incomplete or incorrect on your report, please do not enter the same details that are already listed in the system. Staff at National Office only remove or put an address on hold when Canada Post has advised us that the address is incorrect or when we have been instructed to by the member, her family, or the membership convener online administrator. If the member's address has the incomplete or incorrect note listed, check with the member first to ensure you have her complete and correct address. This includes her unit, her suite, or room numbers for those living in multi-unit housing complexes. When in doubt, contact the membership department as they may have more details as to why the address was put on hold. Okay, so I've gone back to the membership screen. The next that I suggest performing right at the beginning of the year is to submit notification of members who are transferring to your council. Of course, this step should be taken anytime a member transfers to your council. If you already know at the beginning of the year, get it done then, makes it easier for you. Please note that it is the responsibility of the council receiving the transferred member to enter this information. So if you have members that are transferring out of your council, you only need to give them the members transfer form, which is number 510 on cwl.ca. So remember that a transfer should be done for any individual who has been a member or a spiritual advisor of any parish council in Canada at any time, and who is new to your council. So if a member already appears on your paid or your unpaid list or is listed on your remittance list, please do not submit a transfer. So let's click on transfer and transfer a member between two councils. And I'll just take a couple seconds there to come up for you. So this function, it is a request. Information entered does not get it doesn't appear right away. The membership department's goal is to process these requests within 5 business days of having received. So during the high membership season, requests may take a little bit longer. Now let's pretend a member by the name of Pearl has contacted us and asked to join our council. So after I ask her, Pearl lets us know that she used to live in Antigonish and provides me with her transfer form, which has her membership ID number on it. So I'm gonna go ahead and process the transfer for her. Just gotta find that ID number, of course. And there she is. And I'm gonna enter in her first name and we'll put her last name as. Okay, so once you've got those details in, it's important to note what her new address is. It might be the same address as the address she had before, but we're switching her from Antigonish to BC, so that's unlikely. Sorry, I'm just waiting here for my screen. Now you can see that all of the red asterisks here on the side, they let us know that those fields are mandatory. So I've entered in her ID number, her first name, and her last name. We're going to enter in her street address. So let's say she's living at Scotland Avenue in Winnipeg, Manitoba. And she is transferring from, let's say Our Lady of Mount Carmel, and she is going to our council. So she is transferring Our Lady of Mount Carmel, we said was in Antigonish, so we're going to choose Antigonish from the diocese list, and to the province, or rather to the diocese, she's transferring to Prince George. So I'm going to find Prince George from the drop-down menu. And there it is. So when it comes to the council information, you can enter the name of the parish council or the council code if you know it. Either or is fine. And then you're going to click on submit. So if you do not see this screen, please review and check to ensure you did not miss any of the required fields. It's important to note that the membership department processes all requests in the order that they are received. So if it has been more than 10 business days and you've checked your council's records in the online system and the request is not appearing to have been processed, please send the confirmation message that you will have automatically received via email to membership@cwl.ca, and the department will be happy to look into it further for you. There is upon occasion where transfers cannot be processed, and that's when a member has already paid her current year's fees to her previous council that's located in a different diocese. So for example, if Pearl had actually already paid her fees to Antigonish Diocese, or Diocesan Council rather, for 2021, National Office would not be able to process the request to transfer her to Prince George. So back to the membership screen. I know there's been a lot of information to absorb, so thank you for hanging in there with me. It's go through everything. There's a lot of information. Let's talk about adding a member to the remittance checklist. This is one of the functions that is most often misunderstood. So when should you use this function? I'm going to click on add a member to remittance checklist. Like I said, when should you use this function? The first is when you have received dues from a brand new member or spiritual advisor who has never, ever been a member of the league before in any city, town, province. The second is if the member was last a member of your council, but she's rejoining after a period of time away, or she is not appearing on either your paid or your unpaid list for the year that you want to submit her fees for. So you can see that there is a little box at the top that says returning from absence. If the member fits into the second reason I just mentioned, you're going to check this box off. If not, you can go ahead and leave it empty. And again, the fields with the red asterisks are mandatory. So I advise waiting to add the member like add a new member, until you have received her dues. Otherwise, you may be giving yourself work that is unnecessary. So I'm going to use, I'll pick Marianne as an example of a brand new member, and I will enter in her details. So just go with that. Of course, I'm entering in Manitoba details for a BC council, but we'll just pretend. I'm also going to unselect the on the magazine mailing list because Marianne too is very comfortable reading the magazine online, and she's indicated she doesn't need a hard copy. At the bottom of the screen, it asks me to please enter the years that the member intends to pay for, and it's a mandatory question. This is the specific year or years that the member plans on paying for. So in other words, which years should national office create a renewal notice for? So I'm going to enter in 2020 and 2021. Now I forgot to put in her phone number, so let's do that. All right. So I've got 2020, 2021, and I'm going to double check the details. And once I'm ready, I'm going to click on Submit New Member. Perfect. Okay. So success, you'll see this this screen if everything went through properly. Now, this function specifically is also a request that needs to be processed by staff at national office. So again, the goal is to process these requests within 5 business days. Do contact the membership department at membership@cwl.ca with your confirmation of submission that has been emailed to you if the member does not appear on your remittance checklist after 10 business days. Always check online first, though. So an important item to note as well is that the submission of an add a member request, it does not result in a member being added to your paid list. It only results in a member being added to your remittance checklist. And it's very important to remember. Once you've submitted all of your new members and those who are returning who are not listed on your paid or unpaid list, then it's going to be time to submit a remittance. So you're going to click on remittance here at the top of the screen. Now, a remittance is how you inform national office which members your council will be sending in per capita fees for. This step is, of course, very important. Once you click on remittance at the top of the screen or from the home page, you'll see the page that looks like this. Now, when I'm looking at my list here that I've got on the screen, I notice that my new member and my transfer member have not yet been added. That's okay, those are not immediate requests and I only just submitted them. So it's also very important that you read the information in red, as once information is submitted, it cannot be changed. If I scroll to the bottom of my screen, you can see right here, there's 3 buttons, step 2, cancel, and save progress. That save progress button is very important. You'll want to save your work every 10 to 15 minutes so as not to lose the information that you've already completed. Now, saving your progress also enables you to mark members as paid without submitting the information. This is helpful if you want to take a coffee break, for example, in between working on the membership. Please note, however, that saving progress does not submit the membership information to national office. So as I'm looking at my list, I also noticed that under the payment for 2020 column, 3 people are recorded as paid. You can see Valeroy, Catherine, and Amanda are recorded as paid, and 1 says pending. So when there's a paid status with a batch number, it means that I have already submitted payment and those payments have been processed. Now note that only members with either an outstanding renewal notice for 2020 or 2021 will be on this list. Now if members have paid for both 2020 and 2021 and their memberships have been processed by national office, they will not be on your remittance list, but you can find them on your paid list. So the pending status, that means that I have submitted the remittance, but national office has not yet received or processed the payment. Now, if it has been more than 1 month since you have submitted the remittance, do be sure to send in payment for the batch, or the batch may be deleted. The system can only contain so much information at once. If you have submitted the payment more than 1 month prior, do contact the membership department with the batch number to inquire. Okay, so if we take a look at Geraldine here, there is a no renewal under the 2021 column. Now for Geraldine specifically, this is because national office has not yet received her dues for her outstanding renewal notice in 2020. Sometimes you'll also see this if the member's fees for the previous year were submitted after August 31st, or as in Deborah's case, for example, not at all. So it's very important for online administrators, especially to that all fees are for the current year are submitted to national office prior to August 31st. Otherwise, it's going to create more work for you for the following year, as you'll need to submit and add a member to remittance checklist request for each member that paid late and wishes to submit her fees for the following year. That's a lot of extra work for you. So you can save yourself a lot of time and effort by trying to get those memberships to national office before August 31st. Now, not all members need to be paid before completing a remittance. National office strongly recommends that any memberships you've received by February 15th be sent to national office before February 28th. This will ensure that you meet the deadline and that members who have paid their fees will continue to receive the magazine without any interruption. For most councils, they will complete several remittances throughout the year. For our purposes, I am only going to show you how to complete one remittance. There's no need for me to wait on my new member or my transfer member to be added, because I can submit a remittance for them once national office has had a chance to add them to my remittance checklist. So I'm going to say that our spiritual advisor, Valeroy, and myself have paid for 2021. Please note that remittance fees for 2020 and for 2021 can be submitted in the same remittance. But I do recommend doing them separately, as it might be easier for your record keeping. Once I've checked off the people that I want to send fees in for, I'm going to click on step 2. And so then the screen is going to change and you'll see something that looks like this. So step 2 is where you get to review your work. At the top of the screen, there's a reminder as to the breakdown of the per capita fees. So right about here, it has it listed for 2020 and for 2021. This is so that you know to check the payment columns beside each name to make sure that it matches the per capita amount. In this case, the fees for Valeroy are automatically entered as $8 because national office knows that he is a spiritual advisor. Now, for those fees listed beside my name, it is $36.45, which is correct. It matches up here. So it was incorrect, though, for one or more of the members. I would click on previous. And then you can go back here. And let's say it was incorrect for my name. I would unselect my name and I would click on Save Progress, and then I would contact the national office. It is very important to notify the membership, to notify the membership department so that they can look into this further if there are fees that are incorrect. Now, if I didn't notify them, the fees for the member with the incorrect amount might go to the wrong diocesan or provincial council. So it's very important to check. Remember, national office processes items exactly as they are received. So if everything is correct, I'm going to go to step 2 because my fees were correct. And then I'm checking again, everything is correct, and I'm going to click on submit. very important that you click on the submit button, because that is the information that enables the information to be sent to national office. So if you're successful, this is the screen that you will see. Note that the reference number, so for this one, it is the 30092. It must be included on the check that is sent to national office. No other paperwork need be sent. And one of the great things about the online system is it calculates how much is owed for you. So there's no reason to math, which is beneficial. So this message will also be emailed to you as well. However, I do suggest clicking on Save PDF List of Members for your records. Just gonna click on that there. So sometimes a pop-up blocker might happen, and you'll see right here, over here, there would be like a little white or red box with a white X in it. If this list is not popping up, you're going to click on that and choose always allow pop-ups and redirects for this website. It didn't show up for me though, so we're okay. So once you get to your membership list and it's showing up, this is basically the list of members that you completed a remittance for. It's exactly as you've entered it, and it opens up in a new tab. Then you can choose to save or print by right-clicking on with your mouse anywhere on the list and choosing either save as or print. And when you're done, simply close the tab. Okay. So now if you go back to the remittance screen, I'll just wait for my computer there. You can now see that the members that I had submitted now have a pending status. So you can see Valerie Anderson and myself, it now says pending. So that's how we know that we've been successful with that. So we've nearly covered everything. I know it's been long and I appreciate you staying with me thus far. Let's go back and just finish off the membership module, as there are 2 other functions listed there. So click on membership, again, at the top where the headings are. So the last 2 features, basically, of the membership module is updating a member's years of service and requesting a replacement membership card. I left these until the end, as they are tasks that I recommend doing in bulk once per year, and trying to avoid doing it between the December to April high membership season, as there's a lot of other requests flowing at that time. Okay, so let's start with update a member's years of service. I'm going to click on that quickly. You're going to see it's got the same familiar search feature on there. We'll just type in my name, which apparently I can't spell very well. And I'm going to click on search and click on select. So what I find really nice about the system is that the search feature is always the same, so you can really get familiar with it. Okay, so this is what pops up as far as my records for years of service. Now, the total number of years of service any member has is calculated by the number of years of service that she has paid for. The years that were missed are not counted. When looking at updating a member's years of service, always look at the paid list you saved at the very beginning of the membership year before you've submitted any dues for the new season, the one that you've saved. Now, the reason for that is that as soon as the member pays her dues for a new year, the years of service are increased on all previous membership lists. So for example, if someone joined in 2020 and submitted her 2021 dues today, the 2020 list pulled today would show that that member actually had 2 years of service, which of course doesn't make any sense. So it's noted I have 8 years of service beside the current years of service. But let's say I joined the league in 2011, and this would mean that I should have 10 years. Technically, of course, that 10th year of service would not be complete until December 31st. But as I said, 1 year of service is automatically added as soon as a member pays. So it's important to list all of the details. So proposed years of service, I'm going to input as 10. My original joining year, I'm going to put in as 2011. Now, it's very important that you put in the reason for the change in the comments, as much details as you can provide. So for example, I'm going to enter in that I was previously a member in Winnipeg under ID number 00000, let's say. Providing this information helps the membership department locate the duplicate file, if there is one, and merge them together. Most often when a parish council believes the years of service to be incorrect, it's because a member has missed a few years of remitting her dues, or because the member had previous years of service from a different council, and instead of a transfer being submitted at the time, she was added as a new member. Those are things that we can correct. So once you've, or advise you of, once you've entered in that data, you're going to click on Submit Change. And again, you'll receive that confirmation page. So this, again, years of service is not an automatic update. It is a request that staff will need time to process. So again, the goal is the 5 business day turnaround. But if your request has not been processed within 10 business days, you send an email with that confirmation of submission attached to membership@cwl.ca. I'm going to go back to the membership management page. And let's talk about requesting a replacement membership card really quickly. So if I click on that, again, you're going to come up with the same search feature. We'll enter my name and I'll click on search. And there I am, click on select. Everyone's going to know really, really well how to search for people by the end of this. It's also important to note that when you search for people, only people that are in your council will appear. You won't be able to find somebody who's in another council. Okay, so your council's membership information is safe with you. Other people can't access it. So you can see here are my details. Now to request a card, you would click on Request New Card. Pretty simple, straightforward. If you have submitted a request to update a member's years of service or their joining date, or rather if it required an update to the joining year, please be sure that a request to update that joining year has been processed by national office before requesting a new membership card. Please don't request cards for new members, as all new members who have paid their per capita fees will be automatically sent a membership card. These cards do go directly to the online administrator who will be responsible for distributing them. Please note though that these cards are typically only sent once per year. Cards can be requested for members who have lost a card or have had a change in name or joining date. So I'm just going to click on Request New Card and you get that same confirmation. So that's it for the live demonstration. I'm just going to switch screens. I'm going to try to switch screens here. Back to the PowerPoint. Okay. So as I said, that's it for the live demonstration. I wanted to very briefly touch on the pre-authorized debit program. It is a program that National has where funds it enables National Office to withdraw funds directly from the parish council's bank account once the online administrator submits a remittance. So it's not at all mandatory. However, especially in times like these, when we are dealing with COVID restrictions and we're trying to stay in our homes, it can be very helpful. There's no need to arrange to get signatures on checks or spend any money on postage. National Office can also only withdraw the exact amount of funds that your council authorizes by submitting a remittance. Right, and there are no additional costs from National Office to your parish council to participate. It's a really great program. I strongly recommend it. Something to discuss anyways with your council. So This is the list of awesome people who can help you with your questions regarding membership. Catherine and Katrina are your go-to people when it comes to membership, everything except for that council administration. So like the presidents and the treasurers. For those questions, those go specifically to Marian Wong. So Catherine's email address, as you can see on the screen, I'll leave it up for a few minutes, is membership@cwl.ca. Katrina's is clerk@cwl.ca. And Marian's, of course, you can reach her at info@cwl.ca. Remember, though, that for questions involving membership policies, your best person to contact is your diocesan chairperson of organization. They have such a wealth of knowledge, and I'm sure they'd be able to help you. I do have this PowerPoint available. There's a link here to the presentation. Certainly you can contact national office and they can provide that for you as well. Or if you wanted to jot it down right now, that would be great. I'll leave it up there for a couple more minutes, or a couple more seconds rather. I don't want to keep you on here forever and ever. And then we'll move to questions. So if you do have any questions, feel free to put them in to the question box. Again, I think that's down on the bottom right hand corner of your screen. So I do apologize for the length of this presentation, but I did feel it was important to cover each aspect of the system in order to provide you with as much confidence in processing membership as online as possible. Okay, so I'll stop sharing my screen here. Gotta figure out how to do that again. Okay, perfect. All right, so are there any questions? Let's see. So there's a question from Mary Lou, and she wants to know what the batch number is for. So that's a really good question. The batch number, so that was received when you process a remittance. Because you're not sending any paperwork to national office, that batch number lets the membership department know exactly which members you're wanting to pay for. In our system, basically, they just need to type in the numbers that you've written on the check, and a list of all of your members are going to come up. So it's super helpful. If the batch number is not included on the check, it's going to result in your membership being sent back to you because the department won't know who you're wanting to pay for. They want to make sure that they get it right. So always include that reference number on your check. And the reference number, by the way, will be different, like the batch number, it will be different for every remittance that you do. So there had been inquiries in regards to the membership cards. There were a bunch of cards that were sent out in the summer. And unfortunately, what happened is we printed all of these cards and it actually made the card machine break. The card machine got tired out. So we're in the process of looking for another card machine to replace it with. We'll provide an update once that machine is in the office and we're able to start printing cards again. You will definitely still get your card. Okay, looking to see if there's any other questions. So somebody asked a question in regards to membership fees. So the membership fee is what is charged by your council, and the per capita fee is what is sent to national office. That is distributed amongst your diocesan council, your provincial council, and then national office retains a portion. Each diocese or diocesan council and provincial council have different fees. So somebody asked what happens if they report a member as having passed away and forget to do a cancel renewal first. Nothing too severe. It just means the member who has passed away is going to remain on your remittance checklist until somebody notifies the membership department to remove her. So if that mistake happens, and it does, and it's no big deal, just send an email to Catherine at membership@cwl.ca, letting her know that you would like that member removed from your remittance checklist. The thing I should mention is that when you complete these tasks through the online system, National Office has a way of tracking those requests, so we can make sure that the requests have actually been processed, and actually anybody in the office can kind of look into that for you. Catherine and Katrina would know best, though, whereabouts in the chain of things these items are. So I know sometimes members like to send emails and say, hey, Catherine, can you add Mary Jane to our list? It really is better to send it through the online system, because like I said, then we can track it, we can make sure we've received it, we can make sure it's been processed, and it just works much, much, much better. So there is a question about whether the video will be available to online administrators. It has been recorded, so I do believe it will be available. I'm not sure where it will be available, but we'll make sure we let you know. So why do staff have to be involved in adding a member? The reason for that is because the system only has so much capacity, and we have to kind of perform a bit of an audit, right? So anytime there's a new member, for example, if you took me, I may have gone previously under the name Mandy McCormick, or I may have once had, a maiden name that I went under, or I might have spelt my name differently. It's so the staff can look and make sure the member's record is all encompassing, that anytime that member has been a member, it all goes into one file and we're not duplicating requests. So it does take a little bit more time, but it's really for accuracy. Sorry, I'm just scrolling through these questions. I don't have somebody to look at it for me. Okay, so there was a question because I had briefly mentioned about transfer member requests. So what I was saying, so if a member, let's say, has paid their 2021 dues, okay, and they paid it in Winnipeg Diocesan Council, and then they are moving to another council within Winnipeg Diocesan Council, we can absolutely transfer that member from the one council to another council if they're in the same diocesan council. Now, if they're in separate diocesan councils, so for example, if I was going to move from a parish council in Winnipeg Diocesan Council to Mary Mother of the Church in St. Boniface Diocesan Council, and my fees had already been paid, National Office will not be able to process that request. You'll need to wait until the following membership year. Now, that doesn't prevent the member from still participating in whatever activities your parish council wants to do. They just can't be officially transferred. Trying to make sure I get through as many questions as possible. Just have to scroll down. I can definitely make the presentation notes available. That is not a problem. So how long does the system generally take to update changes? It does depend on whether the change, whether it is an immediate request or whether it's a request that National Office staff have to look after. So if it's an immediate request, it will literally, like the address changes, it will show up on your list pretty much instantaneously. Kind of depends on how fast your internet goes, but that's basically as quick as that will happen. If it is a request that a staff person has to look after, the goal is 5 business days. Like I said though earlier, During the high membership season, sometimes those requests can take a little bit longer because there's just so much information that is coming in. Okay, so if the same person who looks after online membership returns for a second term, do they have to resubmit the online forms again? No. So we don't need, if you're going to be continuing in your position as online administrator, we don't need the form again. We just need you to let us know that you are renewing your term. And then the membership department can make sure that your term has been extended. There is a term limit on it, like we do at some point kind of end your term, just so we can make sure we've got that contact still with the council, because sometimes it's pretty easy to forget to let national office know that there's been a change, and we want to make sure that the information is going to the person who needs the information. Okay, so in terms of years of service, if the member has not paid their fees for a long time, can they still keep those previous years of paid membership? Absolutely. So if I was a member in 2000 and I was a member from 2000 to 2009, I had 10 years of service and I stopped joining for whatever reason and I wanted to rejoin in 2021, I would keep those 10 years of service, and then 2021 would be my 11th year of service. Councils just need to let the membership department know if that is the case, so they can make sure that they're not creating a new member file, but rather linking it with an old member file. Just scrolling through. Sorry, there's, okay. So there's a question asking, it's been noted that brand new members have sometimes been charged less than renewing members. Why is this? So the per capita fees for every person in the same diocese are the same. If you're noticing that somebody has been charged less in your council than somebody else, that's an error. So that's when you would want to stop processing the remittance and contact national office so that they can fix it and make sure that the fee is correct. Okay, so somebody asked how to remove a deceased member from the remittance list. So if you've not yet reported the member as having passed away, you would submit a cancel renewal request first. That will have them removed from the list, and then you'd submit a report a member as having passed away. Now, if you've already reported the member's death, just send a quick email to either Catherine or Katrina and they can take care of it for you, letting them know that the member should be removed from your list. So if you have a member with two different numbers, what should you do? That's a great question. It does happen. Essentially what that means is they have a duplicate file for them. Just bring that to Catherine's attention, send her an email with the name of the member and both ID numbers that she has, and then Catherine can look into it and she can merge the files together. So there's a question about can only one person do the membership, or can it kind of be a duo, a team effort? So absolutely, but like I said, the membership job is a big job. Certainly you can have two people take care of that role. How you divvy it up is completely up to you and your council. National office is simply only able to issue the access password information to one member. So one member would be responsible for receiving the communications that National sends out. If that member chooses to share her password with the other person working on it for her, that is up to her, but the person who's the online administrator on record will need to accept responsibility for the work that's done during her term, of course. Are auto withdrawals processed in date order? So that's in terms of the pre-authorized debit plan. They are typically processed in the order that they are received. Valeroy right now does the withdrawals usually once a week. In the busy season, it usually comes out twice a week. Like he does a big batch of it twice per week then. And it's usually in the order it's received. Now, sometimes what happens is one can be missed. And so if you notice that a withdrawal hasn't been made and it's been quite some time, definitely let Valeroy know and he can take care of it. So Valeroy's email address is accounting@cwl.ca. So someone made a comment saying she had not ever used the cancel membership, and that's okay. Like I said, I really only recommend using the cancel renewal membership if a member has passed away or a member has confirmed with 100% certainty that she won't be renewing. Otherwise, you're really just creating more work for yourself. Cancel renewals are not necessary unless you want to remove somebody from your remittance checklist. So if you're new to the online system, somebody wants to know if they go to the remittance form and begin. Certainly, I would still, if you're brand new, I would still print off your paid membership list from the previous year. That would be very helpful for you. But yeah, you can, with the remittance checklist, you can update members, whichever field you want to start with or function you want to start with, you can. And of course, if you do run into any difficulties, Catherine and Katrina are available to help you as much as possible. So don't be afraid to give them a call or send them an email. Okay. So if a member did not pay dues for 2020, why does it show no renewal for 2021? So what happens is, I think that was on my example, that was Deborah. She kind of had a box under 2020 on the remittance screen, and then it said no renewal for 2021. So that box, anytime you see a box, it means that there is an outstanding renewal notice for that person. Anybody with an outstanding renewal notice for 2020 or 2021 are going to be on that remittance checklist. If they have an outstanding renewal notice for 2020 and you've not submitted an add a member request for 2021 for them, then it would say it would be the box under 2020 and then no renewal under 2021. So anytime you want to get rid of that no renewal and make it a box so you can take it off, submit and add a member request. Okay, so if you've not yet received your access to the online system and it's been 10 business days, do send Catherine an email at membership@cwl.ca and she can definitely look into that further. In regards to spiritual advisors, their fee is not a membership fee. So it's a gift subscription to the Canadian League and it's $8. It is entirely up to your spiritual advisor and your council. Some spiritual advisors choose to purchase the gift subscription themselves. Other councils do choose to purchase a gift subscription for their spiritual advisor. It is 100% up to the spiritual advisor though, and your council. It is not a mandatory fee. Okay, so just a reminder that per capita fees are due to national office on February 28th each year. We of course will accept membership throughout the year, but February 28th allows the diocesan and the provincial councils and of course national council to be able to operate in the way that they need to be able to operate. So now August 31st is the deadline to get all of your memberships in order so that you don't have to go through all the work of adding a new add a new member request for people who have already been with your council. Okay, So I think that's everything for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Hopefully it was helpful. Again, I do apologize for the length of the presentation, but it is a big job. And thank you to everyone who does take on the role of online administrator or membership chairperson, convener. Just a reminder, there is a spiritual retreat happening online tomorrow. So if you haven't registered for that yet, do go to cwl.ca and register. There is also another webinar, a fireside chat with the League's honorary life members, and that is happening on December 13th. I encourage you to register for that as well if you are available. Thank you, everyone, and have a good afternoon. And if I don't speak to you, have a wonderful Merry Christmas. God bless.